You're listening to the Things Podcast, brought to you by the Things Industries.
Hi, everybody. This is Alix Paultre at the Things Conference, and I've got Nicolas Lesconnec from Soracom with me. And Nicolas, I'm glad to have you here at the show.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Alex. So I'm Nicolas, leading our partnerships activities at Soracom. If you want me to tell you a bit more about Soracom as a company, so we are providing IoT connectivity services, enablement platform for IoT, more and more AI-based services, of course, today. So very happy that the first year we are exhibiting at the conference. Well, as you know, they are expanding beyond the LoRaWAN world, which we play along while, but we are basically to provide more solutions to customers from hybrid deployments, like do they do LoRaWAN, but then they still need to reach the cloud after the gateway? Do they have direct communication from the sensor to the cloud? Are they looking for cellular connectivity, high bandwidth, low bandwidth, satellite connectivity, and making sure they can put all of that through the same data ingestion pipeline, secured communication, remote access when relevant to hardware solutions. Basically making sure that whatever smart thing they do in the field in terms of extracting physical information, they can just measure that, send that to the cloud securely, and get down whatever needs to be said to the device based on what you can extract from the data, based on the specific data message or what you know about the business operation, and then either say to the device to shut down a valve, switch to plan B, display something, basically whatever smart thing they need to do based on the information they got from the ground.
Got it, Nicolas. So one of the things, because what you're talking about also ties into something that's been a theme that we've been seeing lately. And one of the reasons I'm glad that the Things Conferences has expanded to everything within the cloud, because I think at one point people thought it would all gravitate towards one solution. But the reality is a modern device has to be multimodal, multi-protocol, multilingual, as it were. It has, because you might want something long range and low bandwidth for status updates, but then you want something short range and high bandwidth for updates, or you might want, say, for example, satellite for remote areas, but there's no one best protocol to use today in communications.
Yeah, exactly. I think we are finally getting in that maturity stage in the IoT world where we are past this my technology is better than yours conversation and fist fights, which are entertaining sometimes, but from a business point of view might not be the best way forward. So I think we're getting there. People understand that there is no one size fits all, and depending on your business case specificity, you may choose different technologies. As you said, for a given deployment, at different stages, you will need different communication ways. We see more and more edge AI-based solutions. So you can say, okay, everything happens on the edge. I only need to send 1, 2, 3, 4 over the cloud, so I only need a small pipe, basically. But what if you need to update your model on every edge? How are you going to do that? Maybe it's better if you can do that remotely, and then maybe you need to dump a gigabyte of data down to every node. And it's better if you got ready for that, and you can either expand or switch to another technology at that stage instead of sending one guy with a USB drive to 2,000 customer locations.
Which has been done in the past.
Which has been done. And yesterday we spoke about a scaling project with some partners like Sequence, DP Technics. And one of the things when you speak about scaling, which everybody loves to do in IoT, is that you need to think about time as well. And basically your scaling will not happen in the same condition today. Like 3 years, 5 years from now, what's the landscape going to be? Is your current provider still going to be around? Would you need to send someone to the ground? And basically getting ready for that and all those hidden costs that can bite hard in the air.
Well, and cost effectiveness is half the reason that they're trying all of these different methods anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so have you discovered any application spaces that are particularly open to what you're doing and that you're getting some really good adoption in?
Yeah, well, the thing is, a connectivity player, we are pretty much agnostic. We have every kind of verticals. And as I said, from sensor data that only send 0 or 1, like a button press, and then the magic happens on the cloud, to people that are sending gigabytes of telemetry data or video streaming from security systems, safety protection mechanisms. So we have all kind of these things from smart buildings, healthcare, we see a lot of traction in the healthcare business, like remote patient care, everything related about smart buildings, smart city operations. Energy here in Europe is also a very fast-moving sector from the EV sector, from EV charging stations to solar stations, HVACs. So it's a wide variety, I would say, but yeah, energy, building-related, healthcare are fast-growing markets, and we see a lot of adoptions. And in terms of customer cases, here we choose only a few of them to display, but to show anything from mobility vehicles to energy management systems for the building, to remote patient care systems, factory floor operations. And it's very different. So we stand in the middle of it, but it's usually a team game where nobody knows everything. Well, everybody thinks they know everything, starting with me, but then you need someone to help you out at the chipset level, hardware design, mechanical design, embedded firmware, picking the right connectivity protocol, the right provider, cloud side. Now you add LLM, which are you going to work with? And that's a lot of different parts. And you need pretty often to play well together to make sure that in the end the customer is not lost, but can find something that works well, plays well together, and get them, would you say, the value they are looking for in the end.
Well, isn't that engineering, right? Balancing everything to make sure that it comes out cost-effective, functional.
Yeah, well, that's always a game of trade-offs, and between the best engineering solution, which is the perfect thing, optimized to the 99.999, but cost 3 times what you get from the solution, and maybe you need to accept something from an engineering perspective, which is not perfect, but more than good enough, and will offer you the right level of features, security, costs, well, initial costs, recurring costs, and hidden costs.
They're always a hidden cost.
Yeah, as we said, operations, and usually that's where the fun begins. When you have all those devices deployed in the field, is how are you going to securely manage them, minimizing your overhead costs.
Right. Now, is there anything about Soracom that hasn't come up in our conversation that you'd like our audience to know?
That's a pretty good question. So basically, if you need anything where you need to get your data from A to the cloud and back in a secured way, that's where we're going to help. So we are offering this layer of connectivity, which is basically access to network access, data plans, all that. But then we can provide a wide range of services, be it for the security of the communication, like segregation of traffic, secured remote access. And we also provide a range of services to help you make sense of your data. Like, AI-based services helping you understand that something weird is happening based on your data. Here is what it means, using natural language instead of having to call your data scientist and wait for a few weeks for him to do some very complex Power BI stuff. Maybe just knowing that, this data, this 72.3, which means nothing, actually means something, because that's a huge variation based on the usual. Last time you saw that was April 12th, and maybe you remember that as a terrible day. So that's the kind of thing we provide as well, making sure we do the best we can to help the customer make sense of their data and tie that to business meetings.
Got it. So Nicolas, before I let you go, do you have any final thoughts or words for our audience that you'd like to leave us with?
Yeah, well, as I said, wishful thinking, but hopefully we're getting there in terms of maturity and technologies. That's why we try to provide a way that whatever technology makes sense for you, low data, high data, ground service, satellite, you are going to be able to use the same mechanism to make sense and add value to them. So hopefully, as I say, we are past this fight, and that's why we were excited to be at the Sing Conference this year. Like LoRaWAN, but not only. And there are a lot of different ways to get things done in the best way possible. And a key thing, again, I'm being biased because partnerships is my thing. That's where I work at Soracom, is making sure that you work well with all the players around you, because one-stop shop is great, but pretty often behind that you'll need to have expertise and deep expertise not to make mistakes and fall into the usual IoT pitfalls and die as the best POC ever, which has happened in the past, making sure you have the right people giving you the right advice and helping you grow long-term and not only take your money from day one and not giving you any help whatsoever afterwards.
Wise words.
Trying to.
So, hey, Nicolas, thank you so much for taking the time to sit with us and have this chat. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks a lot, Alex. It was a pleasure. Wish you a good day, and I hope everyone is enjoying the show.
I hope so too.